What were you listening to on Spotify, Johnny? When you say this song is cool, you're talking about the music I'm listening to? Because this is White Bat Audio, for anyone who's wondering. They're really good, and it's royalty free. So. How did you lose your driver's license? Thank you, man. Hey, what's up? Shut up. Sorry, I haven't checked the chat in like 10 minutes. Edgar, welcome back. You're back on the East Coast. Well, congrats. Welcome home to the East Coast. You were traveling for a bit. Were you on the West Coast or were you out of the country for a bit? She was in Cali. Ooh, what are you eating? Edgar says, dude, I'm drawing a test comic page and I'm having so much trouble drawing this dude's hair in the right perspective. Edgar, are we friends on Discord? Find me on Discord and you can send me the drawing. I'll take a look at it if you wanted some input. Yeah, I have a disc. I mean, it's like it's just I don't have like a Discord. What do you call it? Like a where people can join in a group. You can just DM me. Um, I do want to set one up now that my YouTube channel has grown a little bit. I started with like no subscribers like 2 months ago. So for me, 300 subscribers is like, oh my goodness, so many people. But it'll keep building over time. I mean, my Instagram was like 400 people for a long time. I didn't have in the thousands. You got to be happy with your progress. I mean, it's like, hopefully, that gives me more people who will like and share my work, and I can get more of it and keep working and keep my life going. That's really the real reason that social media is important for an artist, for a freelancer. So you want to promote your books and stuff, But yeah, I mean, I do have a Discord. Sorry to answer your question. I do have one. But if you want to find me on there, let me see. What is my Discord name? Hold up. Hold on 1 second. I'm going to just... I'm going to just put it right in the chat. Hold on 1 second. I'm going to just... There you go. So for anyone on here who hasn't been here a little bit, these are some recent pages I've gotten done. This is page 20. Of Black Marrow issue 2. This is page 21. Ooh, ah. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Page 22. And then page 23, which I'm in the process of inking. Yeah. I'm gonna change up the music. I don't really like this one. So what's happening is I'm trying to make this first panel of the woman in with the dark hair. I'm trying to make it match up with the final panel of her. Fuck. Why is that happening? Getting through these very talky pages. I don't know. I might need a break from this, guys. I've been drawing these people talking on a train for like, I don't know, for like 2 weeks. Because this is a very short part of the comic. It's only, I mean, when you read through it, it's like maybe 4 or 5 pages, which in comics, as you know, that's like less than 5 minutes. You get through that. But I was adding a lot of detail, and I'm just getting a little tired of drawing like them sitting in a room talking. And it's like 20 something pages into the book, and this is like a 10 page portion of when they get on the train to when the action starts, where it's mostly exposition and character development and all this stuff that was really fun to write. And for the most part, it's been fun to draw, but I get a little bit like, there's so many like panels of her looking coy and him looking grumpy, and it's just like, you know. And then after this, by the time I get to page like 26, from then onward, it's that until like page 80 of just action, like tons of spectacle and stuff. And I'm just, you know, I am looking forward to that. I'm not hating this. I'm just having one of those days where I want to draw something a little more fun. I mean, I like, you know, drawing is drawing. It's always fun, but like, this is the first time in a while where I've been like, oh, this is very like eat your vegetables kind of, you know, trying to make it, you know, still pretty to look at while we get through this part of the story. Yeah, you're making a manga? That's cool. Where are you going to sell it? That was very noisy. I hope that didn't disturb you guys. Shut Up says she's holding these papers like she printed out a whole stack of DMs. Yeah, so what's happening there is basically in this previous page, Shut Up, when they're going back and forth, she's like talking about how she knows who this prisoner is that he brought on the train. And he's trying to find out how she knows. And then she's going to point out that she's taking out this newspaper, and she's like, I know because it's in the paper, idiot. Did you realize that what you did ended up in the paper? And then on the paper, it's going to be like a big headline of, you know, that the marshal caught this guy. And she's like, don't you realize this is the modern world? Everybody reads modern as perceived by someone living in the late 1800s. It'd be really funny if it was a whole stack of DMs, though. Just all these like thirsty text messages. Thank you. I'm just kind of shaking off the feeling of repetition that I was getting from those pages by doing a sketch on the side real quick. Is that? Can you guys hear the lawnmower in the back? Which, by the way, I love that they do it when I'm having a stream, and I haven't heard from these guys in weeks. Ugh, I love it. It's so good. Hey, what's up, Gross Girl? Have you been streaming? I hope I haven't missed. Hope I haven't missed any of your recent ones. I feels like I keep watching yours after the fact, because I keep not getting alerts, which apparently has been happening with some of my people too, where people on my YouTube are like, "Hey, I'm not getting the alerts to know when you're streaming." But anyways. Oh, Edgar asked, is this Wukong? No, but it is somewhat inspired by like Chinese kung fu monk type thing. This was a character, to answer your question, this is a character who's kind of been in my head for a little while. Where I was thinking about like a distant future kind of like a Star Wars space opera type of world, and one of the characters in it I was thinking would be like a warrior monk who doesn't use guns, who doesn't use firearms, and he's like a traveling, like a really young, holy man who's like, and he wouldn't be necessarily a main character in the story. I'm imagining him more as like a side character, which is a supporting character rather, which I think is a good fit for this type of character who's that, that kind of unique idea. But he's been in my head for a while where I was like, oh, it'd be really cool to do something like that. And then I was like, this might be a good time to sketch him out just to get a feel for it. Yeah, Gross Girl definitely streams, and she is charming and approachable in her streams, just as she is in every other context that one encounters her. She's lovely. And I was trying to, Gross Girl, we gotta continue our conversation about that. We wanted to do like a joint stream where we would talk while we were both mutually streaming. At least I think that's what we were talking about, right, Gigi? And maybe even do like a collab drawing on that app where you draw together. That was something you were showing me. Be really fun. It'd be really fun to turn it into a drinking game. No, but I shouldn't. Jokes aside, I will probably never be under any influence during any stream because I get very like loose with what I say. I really push the jokes in a way that's probably not great. That's something I learned during college. Is like I would be like, oh, that's a funny joke, and then I'll make the joke, and it's like it's funny, but it's like shocking, and then people people who think they know me don't. So like I remember instances in rare parties where I would like have a couple of, even just get a little tipsy and just start messing with my friends, and sometimes I would say something where like the next day I'd be like, oh, I can't believe I said that. I hope they're not pissed. And if it's a funny joke, people just kind of go with it, but like you can tell when you look in their eyes, there's a little moment of like, oh, okay, I don't want to do that anymore. So I rarely drink, so just in general. I thought it'd be really cool if this character carried like a quarterstaff. Like because the idea that he doesn't use guns. That he just like he's a humble monk in a dystopian future, traveling the stars. So I feel like maybe he would some kind of steel rod instead of like a wooden staff because it's futurism or whatever. So as you can tell, Gigi gets pretty consistent commission work, which is something I think you should also be doing. If you don't mind my saying, shut up. I feel like you probably, if you really pushed it, maybe you could. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you're not looking for commissions right now. Are you? Tell us. Tell us if that's something you're pushing. Because I won't bring it up if you don't want commissions. I just started using a Twitter account. So I've got like 73 subscribers or something because I literally never used it until now. Edgar's 12 and he doesn't drink. It's a very controversial decision. All right, I'm going to ink this guy. Gigi, how's the comic going? Johnny got his lip pierced. No, not suitable for work drawings unless he's paid 50 times the regular amount. Wow, you were a tough dealer. 50 times. That's like... I can't even do that math. Which shouldn't surprise you, because if I could do math, I wouldn't be a freelance artist. Mr. Boss is Batman, according to the chat, which I always believe and never question. I would love a job at DC so that I could draw Batman. I spent a lot of the early parts of my career trying to get in at Marvel and DC. It's very hard because even as the industry has, contracted over the past few years, there's fewer and fewer spots available. And there's a ton of nepotism, so much nepotism. So it's very hard for new people to get in there. It's also possible that at the time that I was trying, I'll be honest, I was not as good as I am now. I was probably, I was probably, in terms of skill, probably not ready. Please hold. Tried a very different inking style with this one, at least for the contours. Well, I'm flattered that you think so, Edgar. I don't like that. That's too big a loop. Gotta compress that. Yeah, it's very, this style is very like, this is me, because I've been doing this, Gross Girl, I've been doing like stuff like this for days, like really detailed, like etchy kind of line work. And, like look at this, like this raven, like it's just like tons of like lines and yeah, like this page, I don't know if you can tell because the color's been added, but this is just a lot of line work on this guy. And then here, just more line work everywhere, lines, So I was like, oh, when I draw this sketch, I want to just shake it off by doing something really smooth where it's like 15 lines for the whole thing, and see how much I can do without relying heavily on detail. Although if and when I do a comic of this story that this guy's from, it's likely that I'll go and I'll draw in my default style just because it's, easier to maintain for an entire book. No, that doesn't. What's Shadow Fight? I do all the colors, Edgar. I do everything for my comics except the lettering these days. I actually was thinking about doing the lettering for this book, for book 2, this of BLACKMARROW, because I was like, oh, it'd be really cool to do hand lettering, just like or design my own typefaces. But the letterer in book 1 did such an incredible job. I can't wait for you guys to see it when it comes out in October. It's like, it looks so good. Like he understood exactly how to work with my style. And like, he has like lettering, sound effects that are really in keeping with my colors, for example. And really just blew me away. So, it cost money. I had to hire him out of pocket for the book. But it might be worth it, to do it again. Since book 1, hopefully we'll do well enough, So Edgar, you're going back to school and when? This coming week, or did you already go back to school? Man, I used to dread those days. Well, sometimes I would actually get excited about it because I'd be like, oh, I'm going to see my friends again. But there were times I was like, oh, I don't want the summer to end, man. You're already back in school, sorry. Do you have a subject you like? Oh, really? You're not even doing physical classes anymore? Oh. Yeah, I remember when I was in school, I didn't always enjoy art class. I would look forward to it if they would let me draw, but sometimes I'd be like, I remember being, 10, 11, 12, and being like, I don't know if this is the same for you, Edgar. For me, it was like, I want to draw comics. That's what I want to do when I'm in art. Like, for me, that's what art is. I want to draw pictures, and I want to draw Wolverine and stuff, And they'd be like, more arts and crafts, kind of like, oh, we're gonna glue stuff to other stuff. Let's put the pencil down. We're not doing that today, Ryan. We're gonna and I'd be like, "Argh." And then it'd just like go back to math class. But I had this really wonderful art teacher when I was a kid for a period of time in one of the schools I went to. I can't say her name, obviously, but she was awesome because she saw that I was acting out a lot during art class, and instead of getting mad, she was like, because she knew I could draw, I was drawing all the time, and she saw that I would like be very distractible and kind of hyper ADHD during art class. And then so when she met with my mother for parent teacher, she was just like, you know what, I don't think I'm challenging Ryan enough. I don't think he's interested in this, so I would like to do separate art classes for Ryan, separate from the other kids. And that was so cool. And I've talked about this with my fiance. I was telling her this story and she got all teary-eyed because she's, loves hearing about great teachers changing kids' lives. But yeah, she would show up, she would have the arts and crafts project, whatever, for the normies, the regular kids who were just kind of like, in art class for whatever. And then she would have something really advanced for me to do. And it was like classical drawing, so she would bring in like statues, like small statues, like classical Greek statues. And she would have me sit on the side and she's like, I want you to draw this as realistically as you can. And then I would do it once. I remember one of them was a statue of like, it was like one of the presidents. It might have been Andrew Jackson or something. And I loved those stony faces. And the first time I drew it, it was kind of cartoony and it was like, very much an illustration. And then she came back and she's like, Brian, that's really good. Like, I know you can do that, but I want to see you draw it how it looks, not how you are kind of changing it. I want to just see you try it. And she had me do it again. And I was like amped. I was like, yeah, okay. And then I did it again and it got more realistic. And, she was like, yeah, like some of drawing is things coming out of your head. And some of it is you looking at the world around you and representing it. And it's like, she's like, no matter what medium you're working in, a really good artist does a little bit of both. You filter the world in, create something, yada, yada. And yeah, she was great. She, got me away from my habits of delinquency and tomfoolery. And I have her to thank. I think about her sometimes because I'm like, she was very smart and she didn't make me feel like I was a bad kid because I wasn't paying attention, which is what a lot of other teachers will do. And what they did with me is like, I had trouble paying attention. I was always imagining stuff in my head. I would think about stuff like this and be like, I would draw comics about, Star Wars and the X-Men and stuff. And I just like was constantly living in my head. And I think some teachers like, they kind of pathologize it a bit. They would be like, put your drawings away. You're in class now, which is like fair. I mean, I need to pay attention, but she just was like, you know, saw that I had talent and pushed me to hone it, you know, and to challenge me a little bit, not just letting me do what I want, but like pushing me to be better at it. God bless her. I hope wherever she is that she's happy and healthy, you know. I thought about even reaching out to her. The last time I told my fiance that story was like a year ago or something when it first came up, and she was like, you should like reach out to her, find her and send her an email and just thank her and let her know you're a professional and that you do this for a living now. She'd be so happy. And I was like, yeah, but she probably doesn't. I mean, like, it would be an assumption of my own importance to think that this woman remembers who I am. If she's a teacher, that means every year she's meeting like 50 kids, and it's been 30 years, maybe a little less than 30, maybe 28 years. I don't know how old I was. But I don't know. Yeah, she was a great teacher. Sorry, I'm catching up with chat now. This is a really good comment from Gigi. She says, school art classes tend to generalize into lazy fine art fundamentals. If you could find a way to get a specialized class, it can help. That's true. That's not to say that fine art doesn't inform comic art. It 100% does. That's also true. I think a big part of the problem sometimes with some comic artists is that they never even look at their fundamentals. So they're kind of doing comic art based on comic art that they've seen. So it's like a copy of a copy and it's further removed from reality, you know, so their style is like, it's like less informed by the natural world. I'm not saying it has to be realistic. I'm saying like, you know, you want your style to be a reaction to the real world, not a reaction to another person, you know, further and further down the line without any information from reality. It's like, yeah, from comics, but boredom kills education if you're stuck in a class like that. That's also fairly true. Spitting wisdom over here. Sorry you are dealing with that. Edgar says, boredom kills education in general, and it's so sad that so many students are bored in class. Yeah, that's really... How old am I, Edgar? Are you asking me or Gigi? I'm 38. Yeah, online classes do add that issue. Yeah, Edgar. So it's interesting. It's sad that you're dealing with this, Edgar, because I don't know if you're aware of what's happening outside of, like, I don't know if you've heard your parents discuss it or what, but right now there's a whole argument happening among the grown-ups, among the adults about whether or not it's good for you guys, you know, people under the age of 18, you know, kids still in school, whether or not it's good for you to not be in class. Like there's a whole debate, and it's really interesting because most people agree that it's probably bad for you guys to not physically be in the location and to be watching online and bored and not even paying attention, because you guys, the whole point of school is for you guys to grow up with information and the ability to articulate a point and to have information to back it up. You know, it's supposed to make you a powerful person in the world so that you can determine your own destiny. And it's really upsetting to a lot of us that you guys are forced to sit in front of a screen and you're not even getting to see your friends and socialize and in the same way, and you're the teacher is like further removed from you. It's like, it's really bad. And it all started, I don't know, I mean, COVID was 4.5, 5 years ago, and you were 7 or 8 years old, so I don't know how much of that you remember because you were so young. But before that, it was very different. And we're worried about you guys. Like, we want you guys to, I don't have kids yet. I hope to be a father soon. I hope to have that someday. Hopefully not too long from now, God willing. And like, we talk about education and like our kids, and and it's, yeah, it's upsetting that they're just like not giving you guys what you need, which is to be in the real world with other kids and like, and hanging out and making mistakes, and then like learning from those mistakes, and interacting with teachers and pissing teachers off, and then having to say you're sorry, and then having, watching your teachers be human, and like between classes, and like seeing that stuff, and like how much of your development is like, I remember growing up and realizing my teachers were people. You know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, they're at a job right now. They probably are bored and tired and frustrated too, and they're not being paid enough. And, that happened for me around 12 or 13 because I saw them between classes. I remember seeing one of the teachers just doing that stress thing that people do when they rub their sinuses and they go, I was like, oh wow, yeah, they're having a hard one. And like moments like that are so important. And when you stick a kid in front of a computer and you don't let them be in a physical space, you're depriving them of a lot. So Edgar says, it's very bad. I have 0 friends that are in school. I still have friends that okay, well that's good. I figured you still had friends and stuff. Obviously you're doing fine. But yeah, we just, we worry about you guys because you guys, Edgar, one day Gigi and I are going to be old and we're not going to be able to wipe our own butts because we're going to be so old, and it's going to be up to you guys to take care of us. Your whole generation. That's what I learned, is that most of society is people trying to make the next generation capable and self-sufficient, so that when this generation gets too old to wipe our own butts, we'll have someone help us with that. A lot of it is about butt wiping. The government doesn't tell you that explicitly, but no, it's about other stuff too. We need people to like build houses and, feed our dogs and stuff. Dude, Edgar, you didn't get to 3rd, 4th, or 5th grade in person. That sucks, man. I hope when you get to high school, you're like out of this. Really, dude. I hope high school is good for you, man. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that my generation and the generation before me didn't do enough to like protect you guys. Oh, man. Not to be mean, but you are a little old already. At 30, and too old for what? Like I'm losing my ability to wipe my butt? If that's true, I better see some volunteers in the chat to help me go to the bathroom if I'm getting that old. Watch, I get demonetized for saying that. You know what's funny though? When I was, see, if you get to tell me I'm old, I get to start sentences by saying when I was your age. That's the privilege I have now. Is when I was your age, people who were in their 30s seemed ancient to me. I was like, oh my God, how are you even alive? And then you get to 30 and you're like, I feel kind of the same as when I was 12. I'm just more bills to pay, but generally things are kind of the same. And you can go to bed whenever you want. That's a really good one. That's a good thing. And you're way bigger than the 12-year-olds, which is always fun, is being able to throw children around when they get too lippy. Yeah, I forgot to tell you about when I was your age, we played with rocks and we gave them names. We didn't have our animes and our Pokemons. recruiting Zoomer butt wipers in 2024 is crazy. That's gonna be where I go viral. That's when I'm gonna catch on. You watch, hundreds of new subscribers based on that clip. Yeah, no, but I do think about that. Like, in seriousness, I do think about the fact that it's like we're all gonna get to a point where we can't take care of ourselves, and like we need whichever generation replaces us, we need them to be able to like run things, because no matter who you are, you will get to a place where you are just useless. And the whole point is to like earn that time. You know, you earn it. You're like, okay, I did my part to keep society functioning. I contributed to the culture, and now I'm tired and I can't do much anymore. Somebody please take care of me. And it's like, that's something I think about, like how scary that is probably for the elderly, you know? And how that's going to be all of us one day. It's going to be you, Edgar. One day you'll be old. All right, later, Gigi. Have fun. Thanks for showing up. Although, shut up, is Edgar a boomer? I mean, not boomer. Is he a Zoomer? I don't know if he qualifies as a Zoomer. He might be Generation Alpha, no? Because he's so young. I mean, I thought Zoomers are people. Well, I guess maybe. I was going to add some stuff at the end of the staff, but it just looks like a big Q-tip. Not into the Q-tip look. Gross Girl says, oh, quick note. Congrats on the 300 plus subs. Oh, thank you. You were like 150 when I looked at the number last. That's exciting. And Shut Up says, yes, congrats. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate that. Something weird. I got 100 subscribers in a day. I was 220, 217 or something yesterday, and today it's 319. And I don't know what happened with my last video. I don't know what happened. The last video went up and I saw like the numbers kept going up over the past day, and they're still going up. It was like 300 like an hour ago. So I don't know. I appreciate that. Thank you for saying so. You guys are the sweetest. I love you. But it is shocking to me that happened. It must have been the thumbnail. My last video had a cool thumbnail. It was like very action packed looking, and maybe that drew people in. But thank you for saying that. I really appreciate that. That's really You're wonderful, wonderful creatures, all of you. Later, Gigi. Let's talk about doing that stream sometime. If you're down for it and if you have time. Have fun. Have fun at class. Be good. Really, it's have fun at work. You guys are going to have to accept that sometimes I'm just going to burp into the mic by accident, and I'm sorry. It's not something I do on purpose. I don't know why when I do these streams I get a little... I yawn and I burp during streams in a way that I don't typically do when I'm just sitting alone. And I don't know what that is. I have a theory that because I tend to play like relaxing music, that it like relaxes me, and then I end up getting a little loose with my manners. You're calling the mic police? What do you think their uniforms would look like, the mic police? You imagine a police sergeant that looks like Michael Jackson? I'll be honest with you, I would love that, actually. Wouldn't leave him alone with, you know, any vulnerable persons, but I would certainly enjoy the image. How do you pronounce your name? Shreyansh. Shreyanish Jenna. Can I just call you Jenna or Gina? Or do you want to be called Shreyansh? I know I'm mispronouncing this name hideously, and I apologize. She says, "Hi, I had a question. If we are asked to make storyboarding for a given topic, for example, alien world for any given topic, how do we come up with 4-panel or short stories?" Okay, so Shreyansh is good. Or Shreyanish. I'm sorry. I don't know which one was the first one. I'll have to do a playback. How do we come up with 4-panel or short stories? So, someone asked you specifically for storyboarding. Before I answer the question, I want to make sure that I understand you. Someone was asking specifically for storyboarding, you're saying, right? Hey, Edgar. Okay, so let me, if you're asked to do storyboarding, this is, when I work as a storyboard artist, this is what you would do. One, right? Now, it wouldn't be these exact proportions because you want it to basically be more like a film, a screen, a wide screen of a movie. So it wouldn't be this narrow or wide, but generally speaking, you want something that looks like, here, you know what, here, I'll do it again and I'll show you as close as I can to the exact. All right, so you would go like there. Right? So that's 2 boards. That's 2 scenes or 2 shots, right? You get your character. You said you wanted like an alien world or something, right? So it's like, let's say there's giant mushrooms in this alien world. Here, let me get a, yeah, that's good. My God, I can't get the right brush size. Yeah, so you get these like weird brushes, these mushrooms coming out of everything, and there's the ship coming, right? It's coming into the atmosphere, and we have our foreground shot, and our background is going to be like a dome where these like creatures live, and this character is arriving through the atmosphere of that world. The dome has spires on it, you know, like structure, design, things like that. And you want to add some interesting stuff in the foreground to give it a sense of panoramic, you know, adventurism. And maybe there's like a moon right in the sky setting up the, well, no, then it looks like they flew out of the moon. But you would do something like that. Nice little landscape shot. You want other things in the background so it looks like a place that's full. That would be establishing shot. Panel 2 is inside the ship where the characters are landing, and maybe you got your pilot leaning over the dashboard a bit, and she's like, I don't know if I can land here. It's so whatever. So the terrain is too blocky and strange, and or maybe the terrain's too soft. It's all mushrooms, and I don't know how to set this thing down. And she's like, she's freaking out, and she's got her hand on the steering wheel. This is the cockpit around her, right? She's in her seat. And then you get another character in the foreground. Maybe he's an alien and he's her friend, and he's some kind of alien with tiny ears and large eyes. I know I'm adding a lot of unnecessary details to this to answer your question, but so, and he's next to her. Maybe he's a little guy, and he's like, oh wait, I see a place over there, and he's pointing with his big alien finger. Right? That's 2 boards. And if you look what I did here, I set it up so that this shot, the second shot, mirrors aspects of the first. This is something I do in comics, and you do it in storyboarding, probably to a lesser degree, but it's still there. If you look, the trajectory of the ship coming this way, and then you get the foreground angling, and then you have the same foreground here. Look, the mushroom to his head is a continuous kind of line. And then the line of the ship here is kind of like the slope of the cockpit and her vision downward, so that you don't mess with people's perception of what they're looking at. You know? That's the kind of stuff I did when I was storyboarding. So I'm assuming that's what they're asking for. If they're saying they want storyboards, they want to see you plan out the shots. And if you have designs to work with, that's great, you know, because then you don't have to do the designs yourself. If they're asking for storyboards, like naked boards without any preamble or pre-production, you can design a little bit too if there's time, you know, like create that world, you know, if you say it's an alien world. But I mean, maybe that was just an example and you're doing something else, but that is essentially... yeah, so I've Shriyansh, I dropped my Discord in the chat. Here, I'll do it again. You can send me your storyboards, and I'll take a look at them. We can talk about them, you know, during the stream, and I'll show them and you know, tell you if there's, you know, we can all tell you if there's anything you might want to add or whatever. But yeah, that's basically my example. As this is how I would tend to do it. I often did 2 boards on a page. Sometimes I would do 3 or 4 if I had a larger page, but I like doing just 2 because otherwise it gets, I don't know, overwhelming. Was that helpful? Yeah, send it over. Hey Edgar, thank you. Yeah, with storyboarding, man, that was an interesting time because you kind of have to like learn how to draw it quickly because people are like, we need 20 boards by tomorrow for this ad. Ugh, those days. I'm gonna switch to like a gaming soundtrack. I've been playing Jedi Survivor again recently, and I think I can play that without getting copyright struck. Let's try this one. Ooh, yeah, I like this. It's orchestral jam. Oops. How many people watching use digital art? If you do use digital medium, and if you have, how many of you have discovered the wonders of clipping masks? Because I discovered clipping masks like a year ago, even though I've been doing this for years. I was literally working without clipping masks. It's the most embarrassing thing I can tell people. Actually, it's probably more than a year ago, but still. Working professionally for a reasonably long time before I knew clipping masks were even a thing. But I think that is because I wasn't doing digital for a lot of my career. So. If anyone is frustrated that I'm so zoomed out, I know. I know that's annoying. It just sometimes helps get some perspective on a given piece, you know. You just started 3 days ago doing digital. Wow. Okay. So you're at a very exciting point where you got a lot you can learn, and it's going to be fun. Don't make the mistake I did and sit in confusion. If you have questions, just ask people. People around you are, you would be shocked at how kind most people are, honestly, especially in smaller spaces like digital spaces, like nerd kind of spaces, artists and such. You would be shocked. There's so many of them that are so nice. And I know this because I was extremely lost when I first started doing this stuff. And I just asked people who knew. And people are always, not always, but often, people are very excited to share what they know. In the spirit of collaboration and play and yeah. Johnny, you want me to take your wife? Not your new lip piercing? Yeah, I mean, I know that I'm kind of just indulging with this. This is just me screwing around. I mean, I have deadlines I have to hit for my books, but this character and this like type of world has been in my head for a bit. So I needed to do this. So thanks for hanging out with me while I do this, guys. Johnny, you're an interesting guy. I have not considered the color of his marrow, for the name is clearly a metaphorical of some kind. No, it's not really metaphorical, it's just a name. I don't know. I don't know what color his marrow would actually be. Probably similar to other people. Okay, so should this guy have some kind of a facial mark or tattoo of some kind? I don't know. I think he should. What even is a marrow? You know, bone marrow. It's in your bones. Yeah, but Johnny says marrow is the middle stuff in your bones that makes white and red blood cells. Eating it is very nutritious. But to be clear, not eating your own your own bone marrow, eating animal marrow. Yeah, you see, there it is. There's the eating marrow when you like eat meat and stuff like that. Yeah, like cracking open the bones of of an animal that you have predated and eating its contents. I don't know what the name of this character is yet, but I think he's cool. I like him. He looks fun. Excuse me. Let me see, what kind of... Thanks, man. Yeah, this is like, I can't even tell you how many times I've done this, where I've just been like, oh, I have an image in my head of a character, I want to just draw them. Hmm. No, don't like that. See, they're a group of monks that he belongs to. So I was thinking of giving him some kind of a religious symbol. And maybe it's a symbol that wouldn't even be something he applied to himself, but maybe the enemy, the oppressors, captured him at some point and actually marked him so that they know what they're dealing with before he escaped. Okay, Johnny, what if you don't see the ice cream truck stop? What does that mean? What are you getting at? I'm afraid to ask. Hmm. I don't know. I don't know which of these I like more. I'm trying to do a vertical symbol because if it goes circular, it's going to look kind of like something from Last Airbender, which is not what I'm going for. You know what? Let me try mixing the two together. Yeah, I think this could work if I combine the two. Yeah. Oh, that is looking like a complete design. Johnny says, it never stops. It is a ghost. Vehicle ghost. A very rare but insidious form of ghost that will drive through your bedroom if you don't sage your whole block. Damn, Johnny woke up and chose violence, as the kids are saying. Yeah, thank you. I think the cross looks cool, right? The cross gives him a kind of I don't know. He looks edgy as hell. He looks cool. So I don't know if you caught the beginning of it, Johnny, but I was saying that I was like, this character's been in my head for a while. This like warrior monk that would exist in a kind of Star Wars-y soap opera kind of world, space opera kind of world. I meant to say. It would be like, he'd be like what do you call it? An ancillary character, ancillary character. Sorry. Like he's one of the main crew, you know, in the way that you get Star Wars, like, or Dune or something. Like a Duncan, Idaho type. Oh yeah, your hand hurts from drawing. I get that. I'm actually getting to that point too. Although it was good that I switched to this drawing because working on this stuff requires a lot more like tightening of your hand muscles to get this kind of detail because you're constantly like carving it in. But then when I switch to this style, it's like you can get really loose and you draw from the wrist and it's very fluid and it's nice. It feels good. I don't know, guys. I'm thinking it might be cool to do a whole comic book like this in this style. Something to consider. I don't know. Thing is, if I draw in this style for a while, I might end up getting sick of it and being like, oh, I like doing it the other way. You know? That's what always happens. Uh-oh. Clip Studio is frozen. Okay, there it goes. This reminds you of the art of Black Marrow? Well, that makes sense. I heard it's from the same guy. Oh, I missed some. I missed a bunch of comments. Wow. Yeah, I think what I'd be going for with this character is that he would be like almost like a Christian monk, hence the crucifix. I know I like this idea of taking what I know from the history of like European monks and then like advancing it by like 10,000 years into a distant future. What would his character be like? You know, it's kind of Mawa style. I don't know if I know what Mawa is. All the corny jokes here. Put it in warm water. Thaw it. Jesus, you guys. You're younger than me, but your jokes are older. You like the background? Shut Up says he's so thick. Is he? You know what's funny? It's like I tend to be drawn toward like thicker characters. Like I like drawing bigger shapes of people. I think it's more fun sometimes. He actually seems pretty thin by my standards for like action characters. How I tend to bulk them just because it's those shapes are really pleasing. Edgar says, I love that art style. Please make a comic of it. Oh, okay, cool. Okay, I guess I will. You like the background? Cool, thank you. Yeah, I think that's, I might leave it there. I might leave the background like that. Might be cool to add stuff to this over time, but I might do a series of character designs for this. Yeah, you want help with your story? Sure. Yeah, Edgar. No problem. Definitely show me your art. Shut Up was born in 1879. That's true because Shut Up is actually Sigmund Freud. And how do I know that? Because she does a ton of cocaine and she won't stop flirting with her patients. That's not true. I don't think she does any drugs. Yeah, you heard me, Edgar. I like drawing thicker characters. I said it again. Clip that. Play it on loop. I don't care. No, yeah, I do. I like. There's a story of when they were animating The Incredibles, the first one. And I'm sure most of you have seen The Incredibles. Not Shut Up because she doesn't watch anything or read anything after the year 1879. But for those of us who are up to modern culture and have seen things like Lord of the Rings, for example, Shut Up, when they were making The Incredibles, the animators would like fight over who got to work on Bob Parr on Mr. Incredible, I think his name is, because for those of you who've seen the movie, he's like a really bulky, big character with like, he's got a lot of muscle, but he's got like a kind of a little bit of a chubby dad bod at the same time. And artists, a lot of them love working with that. And animators in particular love working on characters like that. It's just very fun to like animate that movement of like a big, bulky character, like a bear. Cause it's like all that flesh kind of moves in a way that's interesting, you know? And I thought about that because it was like, oh yeah, when I'm drawing, if I get to work on a character who's like a big lump, it's like really fun, especially the contrast, you know? The waist to thigh ratio. Bro is not escaping the allegations. halt, das habe ich nie Germat. Don't yell at me in German. I don't want that. Shut up. Johnny says, so my party came upon a giant snake guarding gold in a box. What happens next? Anything. I'll make it work. Only thing is they need the gold. A giant snake guarding gold in a box. Does the snake talk? Or is it something that's just like a big dumb animal? Because if the snake speaks, you could do something that references old stories and fairy tales where what if one of the people in your party who has really high intelligence has to do a kind of riddle game with the snake, sort of like Gollum and Bilbo, and they can have a back and forth. And the snake only relinquishes the box to someone of great intelligence. A display of wit, a battle of intellect. That could be cool. Or you could do that. The snake. What if the snake desires beauty above anything else, and the snake is like, you must compose a perfect haiku for me, or a short poem of any kind, You're on it. Shut Up says, that's a Peter Paul Rubens based Flemish school argument. What is? What is? What are you talking about? I know Peter Paul Rubens. Don't you look at me like I don't know who that is. I feel your eyes on me. Shut up. No, but what argument? What are you talking about? Nah, don't like it. Get out of there. Yeah. Rubens was all about that. There was like a Peter Paul Rubens had a kind of voluptuousness to his images, like the saturation and yeah. I want to name this character. I do want to end the stream so I can, get something to drink and relax a little bit before I go pick up my girl from work. But I would love to name this character. Do we have a name for him? Shut up. Hit me with I knew you were going to say something like that. You have such an extensive reading background. Can you, and you speak like 15, 30 languages? I don't know. You speak 248 languages. Can you bring me a name from any one of those? I'm really close to hanging up on you. You get one last try. And then I'm going to sign off with the Black Marrow trailer. Boo. Okay.